Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. I'm still pissed about the Cardinals game. I'm not going to lie. I haven't gotten over it yet. And you know why I haven't gotten over it? Because there was a point in this season where everybody that watches this podcast and everybody that's a Cardinals fan believes that was the absolute best team the Arizona Cardinals ever had since they came to the Valley. That's my problem. I'm not happy Cliff Kingsbury is still here. I'm not happy Steve Keim is still here. I do see a little glimmer of hope, and I want to get into that a little bit later. But first, you know what we got today? We have Suns fan Randy in the house from Stay Off My Grass podcast. And we're going to talk some Phoenix Suns stuff for a little bit. At least we have one team. I'm excited that we got the Phoenix Suns because this might be the best Phoenix Suns team in history. And I fully believe that we are. He's on Fire Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go.
Urkavici sets. Looks up. And it is caught. Dylan Strong. Blitz coming. Matthews. Palmer extending the play. Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley. Oh! Puts it down. Puts it down! They're getting a little wobbly. The downfield shot Jayyy. The foot race. They won't get him. Center field. The Diamondbacks
Unfortunately, we do have some news that we need to share regarding the future of the podcast. Our co-host Amit has decided to take on a coaching responsibility. Can you believe that? We're going to have 2 damn coaches on the show and he won't be able to join us on Wednesdays anymore. But that's okay because we have somebody that we're going to bring on tonight. First, obviously, going to bring on my first co-host, Jayyy Joyce. What's going on, man?
I'm doing all right. Kind of a long day, but I'm excited to go into everything because we have a lot to talk about and we have a good guest on. Randy has really good content. Please check him out. Gives good insight after every game.
Roy already said, yeah, Coach Amit.
Coach Amit Monty. He's gonna be strict. I can already see him yelling. But
isn't his son like 6 or 7 years old? Do you think he's gonna be the one going around with the drawing up plays for 7-year-olds and the whistle, telling them to do suicides? Could you see Amit doing that? I totally could.
Yeah, probably burpees too.
I would love to see that, but let's bring on our guest, Suns fan Randy. What is going on? Hey, full discourse. You need to show everybody your hat.
Oh yeah, LA.
Can y'all believe that? Can y'all believe that?
I mean, it's something. It's a hat.
Campaign.
A lot of things are something. That's something else.
Right. I mean, they just love October apparently. So I don't know.
They do, but as I said in a pregame, you need to get yourselves the upside down.
Oh
LA
yeah, to kill the hype.
Yeah,
I might have a couple. I think I might have one. Maybe next time I'm on, I might whip it out or something like that.
Jayyy, that's something we should do. If we can get anybody else to actually host our podcast and we can go out and buy swag, I want to get upside down LA hats.
Oh yeah, man, I'm your guy. I know the guy who actually sells them. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Even Todd's like, dude, come on. What's with the hat? I know. Don't roast him as much as you can. Roast him in the chat. We'll let him know. But he does have some really great content and commentary on his podcast that he does with his brother, who is a Lakers fan. That's just an unfortunate family dynamic for you. I know how it is because my wife is a Cowboys fan, so I kind of get it. Just like John Voita, he's a Cardinals fan and his wife is a Cowboys fan, and we commemorate the misery every year, and then they celebrate our misery the day after we lose. And I went upstairs after the podcast, Jay, and Jordan was like, "Welcome to the Losers Club," and I was like, "Not now."
Yeah, man. I grew up in LA actually, so I grew up fighting Laker fans all day long. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing it since I was 9 years old. So it's not really nothing new to me really anymore. But you know what I'm saying? I definitely cannot watch I can definitely not watch Sun games in the same house, or in the same room with my brother and stuff like that, because it just gets too crazy. And going to the Staples or whatever, the crypto arena, I just kind of stay away from. I already told myself I could never go to a Lakers Suns game, even if they were playing in Staples or whatever, just because I'm not gonna make it out. I'm not gonna make it out alive. I talk too much. They talk too much. It'll be all bad.
You've seen what happened to it was a Giants fan in that Dodgers.
Oh yeah.
I want to say it was like 2009, 10, 11, somewhere around there. Yeah. Todd, don't worry. He does have one. He told us he does have one, and we're going to make it a mandatory thing next time he comes on. Maybe we need to institute a dress code, Jay.
Yeah.
You wore an Ohio State shirt one time when I was talking about Arizona State. Now we're talking about Suns.
And we got just because we're going over bowl games hat. And, so.
Maybe we'll get a dress code. But Suns fan Randy, tell us where everybody can find you and tell us a little bit about your podcast and what goes down over there.
So you can find me on YouTube and TikTok at Stay Off My Grass Pod. I typically post right after the Suns game, so I'll give you a little quick analysis or a review of what's going on and what's, was really popping, whatever. So that's really where we're at right now, mostly up until I get that Twitter up and going. So, yeah.
Everybody tell him to get that Twitter, because that is definitely where it pops off for sports stuff. So I've been listening to your content. I've been a fan for a little while now. Again, I have to apologize about the one night I blocked you on our show, and I was like, oh, I did not mean to do that. I just hit the little dots, tried to click away, and it did the block comment thing, or block user. I was like, crap. So the whole time I wasn't even paying attention to the show. I'm up here. How do I unblock on StreamYard and YouTube and message you? So I'm glad we could get that all worked out. But the Phoenix Suns this year, last team to hit double-digit losses, first team to get to the 43 win mark. Mm-hmm. And this team just keeps rolling right now. Just give me a few highlights of what you've seen from the team. Let's say from Christmas, because Christmas time, right after that, there was a stretch there that was really tough. But what have you seen in the month of January from the Phoenix Suns?
I've seen Devin Booker. He's going crazy right now. I feel like, I don't know what it was. I feel like going into Christmas, or we had a weird stretch in December, after we lost to the Warriors, because we had lost them for the second time in whatever, a week or so. So I wasn't feeling too confident about the Suns, but January we definitely flipped it and turned it around, especially with injuries and stuff like that. I feel like we kind of started to understand how to get through the season. You know what I'm saying? I don't see us losing a lot of trap games like we did a couple years ago, or last year, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like we kind of got a formula definitely during the season on what to do, or what to do in certain situations and stuff like that. Because I feel like if you notice, we come out in the first quarter and we lock up, and then we come out in the fourth at the start and lock up, and then we can put it away from there. And then sometimes give or take the scenario, whatever, it might have to change. But for the most part, I feel like that's typically how it goes.
I would actually completely agree with that assessment when it comes to figuring out the regular season. I thought last year, obviously it was a 72-game season. It was way different last year, especially considering no practices. We had a lot to prove. We had that chip on our shoulder, and now we have the target on our back. I totally felt we were going to have a couple trap games. People were going to come up on us. They were going to hit us when we weren't ready. And that's happened once or twice, but literally once or twice. They just somehow keep it going. And no matter how many players are in there. So that kind of leads me to my next point. We already touched on that we're the best team, most wins, least amount of losses, all that fun stuff. And this is with JJ Redick coming on probably one of the horrible ESPN shows that they have on. But he said DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker have only played together for 23 games. And we're at game 44 is coming up. Mm-hmm. Does that give you hope, Suns fan Randy? Or is that more of a, we need to tap the brakes on DeAndre Ayton? Maybe he's not as important as we thought he was. what does that mean to you?
Well, let me unpack that a little bit. Well, first, like, I don't know if it's just me or not, but the first seed doesn't hit. Like, I don't know if just because we just lost it and gained it so many times, like the first seed doesn't hit as much or as hard as I thought it was. Like, we've been the first seed for probably like a week, 2 weeks now, and it's just been like, this is what it is, what it's like to be on the top. Like, I guess it's a little lonely, but so that was been one thing for me to dissect. Another thing too, with DeAndre Ayton, I would say yes. I was one of those Ayton non-believers. I'll go out on a record and say I did not believe in Ayton, like especially coming in. Well, after the finals, after Giannis kind of had his way, was giving him 50 and whatever, and just like, you know what I'm saying, just made him look like a little boy out there, kind of. I was like, I don't know if Ayton is worth a max. Like, I wouldn't say that he's worthless or like he's not like doesn't have a spot on the team or like, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't think that he was worth Trae Young or Luka Doncic money. And I kind of felt that way up until probably like December to where we started losing him. I'm like, okay, like this whole team is different. Like the way it plays defense is different. The way like we go through offense, like I didn't even know how much like the offense really went through him until we kind of started trusting like JaVale McGee with like dribble handoffs and like how JaVale McGee doesn't really set hard screens so Chris Paul can't slide under him or whatever. So I was just like, okay, like those things that I wasn't really taking under consideration is just like, yeah, we need this dude. I don't know. I like if we can get him for under the max, like that'll be fine. But you know what I'm saying? At this point, like we kind of can't be choosers with him because I don't see anybody else out there that can kind of do what he did. I completely
agree. I've been saying 160 for DeAndre. You were insane, but I don't know if we have a choice otherwise. I thought he'd be like 120 would be my max.
Yeah.
Right. Like 120 is my absolute max. And I love to do it for 4 years, 30 a year. Like, are you really going to say no to 30 a year? Come on, man. Are you trying to push for that? You're trying to push for that 40. Like, I get it. I just don't think he's worth that. He's not that type of player. He's not a transcendent player that's going to 100% improve everybody on the court unless it's on the defensive side. And those players do not get max contracts. Draymond Green doesn't have a max contract. Rudy Gobert does not have that contract like that. So that's where I stand on it. JJ, what do you have for Suns Fran Randy tonight?
Man, I just want to kind of add on to what you were saying because you kind of just hit like these last 2 seasons like right on the head. Yeah, if we were to start, if we started this podcast last year, you know, like both me and Evan would probably be tearing DA like a new one if we were talking about last year because there was so much inconsistency last year but like when he was good, it was the hands. It was like, you know, like butter hands and stuff, and like but he was good against like Embiid, Giannis, Jokic. Like he was like anytime those games came around, he played very well. So it gave us like this yin and yang thing. I'm like, it's like, is he being too conservative and he's only using spurts of it to show out against these guys, or is it just like luck, or like we didn't know what it was, and then we saw in that playoff run that like he's kind of like top. He's a top 5 center right now, and then we get into this whole you know, contract situation. We were ready to throw him the money, and you know, it was living in the moment and stuff. And like now looking outside in on everything that's going on with him, and he's having a stretch of bad luck right now. The knee injury to start the season, and then the COVID that threw him out of whack. And finally, when he jumps back off of COVID, then he rolls his ankle and stuff. But you could definitely see this team playing a lot better with DA on the court. He knows the system.
I'd agree.
Just as much as anybody does. Like this offense is a lot more cleaner. There's a lot less loose ends and mistakes when DA is on the floor. And I'll argue his hands are a lot better this year. His court vision is a lot better. He sees things that I don't see until he makes the pass. And he knows where everybody's supposed to be, like Cam Johnson in the corner or Mikal cutting in. So he's seeing these things a lot more this year than he did last year. And McGee is filling that void too. He's doing a very good job being a backup center, and I'll argue he's the best backup center in the league. But going back to this DA contract thing, you know, like he's kind of at the point that he's kind of like irreplaceable. You know, there's not many guys you can kind of get that back from. Yeah, you can have a Biyombo and a Kaminsky that play that center role and that role correctly, do the short role correctly, set those picks like you need him to, but there's something about DA and his presence there that kind of makes centers, a little like, worrisome because, DA moves pretty well. That hook shot is like that hook shot is money, and like he's shown just like in his 23 games that he's played on the court this season that he's a different player than he was last year, and he's been a lot more consistent. So like this Suns team is a lot better than it was last year, and the only like we used to get smacked in the mouth by like last season, like against like Charlotte, Indiana. What's
Detroit.
Another game, Evan?
Detroit.
Detroit. That came out of nowhere. But like this year, it was really the Heat, and then the Warriors kind of gave us a reality check. Like, hey, we're good.
Washington beat us bad last year.
Washington
beat us bad last year. There was a handful of them.
There was a bunch of those games.
Oklahoma City beat us one time.
City.
That's what got us to 8-8, and then we went on.
Kings
that run.
beat us. That was the most frustrating one.
Kings
I
beat
remember. That was one
Kings beat us is the most irritating thing, and then like the Nuggets games in the beginning of the season, when
Jamal Murray was going.
Jamal Murray, the travel, and then all that other stuff. But this game, this team is just tightening up so many like things, and kind of smoothed out the sharp edges, and like this team is just very deep, top to bottom, and stuff. And Alfred Payton, he's probably the best, third string point guard you can have in the league right now. So there's just a lot to talk about with this team. This team, in my opinion, and I'm a little biased, but like the proof is in the pudding. Like this team is the best like in the NBA record wise, pace wise, scoring wise, and then just how they do it, because against junky teams we play at like half speed, and and we only turn it on when we needed to, and we couldn't do that last year. So
I want to.
You're too loud over there, JJ. You got to be quiet. You got to be humble. And just like.
Well, you said this is the best team in the NBA right now. Is this? We had this conversation with the Cardinals, so I'm really weary about going down this road, but it is something that we need to point to. Is this the best Phoenix Suns team of all time? Now we have to wait until the season ends. If they get bounced in the first round, it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But at this point, from what you're seeing, that argument can be made, right? Randy, what do you think?
100%. Like even when the finals was happening, it was pulling on my heartstrings just because like people were like throwing up posts and asking me stuff like that, like, oh, like is this team better than the Nash teams and stuff like that? And like the Nash teams and Nash they hold a special place in my heart. So it's just like a little tough for me to just even though I love Book, like he hasn't got there yet, but he's fast approaching. But I don't know, man, like because we went to the finals with this team and that team never took us to the finals. But I feel like those Nash, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Q Rich, I don't know, like I feel like we went to war, Tim Thomas, like we went to war with some of those dudes, and Lou Amundsen, like, oh man, like I had so many like childhood memories just attached to those dudes, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of put this team over it. But I think on paper, like logically, yes. But if I had to vote with my heart, I would say nah. Like I would still take those Nash teams and stuff like that. But on paper, if I had to just be like, all right, like I'm gonna just be logical. You know what I'm saying? Like this girl obviously cheated on me. So like the obvious thing is like I need to leave. But like obviously I still love her. So it's just like
she's the best I'm gonna ever have. So I gotta stay with her.
Yeah.
I have to
I actually have a good comparison to what you said, Randy, or like a metaphor if you want to put it like that. Have you guys seen Moneyball?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I think Monty Williams kind of constructed this team kind of like in a Moneyball sense. It was all like Mikal gets the base, like Booker is, kind of like that guy that, he can, score a couple, and Chris Paul is kind of conducting the whole thing. I think that's how Monty kind of put together this team because, like who thought Mikal was going to be the player that he is? Who thought DA was really going to live up to like the number one pick status, and who knew like Booker didn't even play in college like that, So,
yeah.
I mean, I know James Jones, like that isn't like his pick, but still though, like he still constructed a team around these guys and ended up getting Chris Paul, and
I didn't see Mikal Bridges working out initially because I like his jumper, and I don't know if you guys noticed it or not either. Like recently, like that old hitch that he used to have in his jump shot when he first came in is kind of back a little bit, and it's a little concerned. Like I don't know if you noticed it, like he shoots it like real like in front of his face, kind of, and it's just like you could tell, like he's like like I don't know, and obviously
it's
he's
still his
been
finger?
slumping up too. You know what?
No.
I'm glad you said that. You reminded me because I was like, why has he been playing so bad offensively? And then I was like, okay, he did like dislocate his finger and then come back in the game. Now I remember.
I mean, when he hurt his finger, he stopped being aggressive, and then it's not like he went out for 2 weeks and then came back. He kept playing, so he kept playing through it, and he had to keep adjusting that way, right? So he had to keep playing that way. So now he's having to adjust back to being that aggressive player. And I'm not so much seeing the shot. The shot is more going over his head. Before it used to kind of go at a 1 o'clock position. You know, he would shoot it at 1 o'clock right here. I mean, it looks like it's like 11 o'clock on the screen, but you know, you flip it around the way the camera is. But this is really my right shoulder right here, my right hand, and this is where he used to shoot it. And now he brings it down here, and then he like kind of goes up. He like
swings
exactly.
it,
whoops up.
Yeah.
So it's not like a hitch
Lonzo
where it's
stuff.
like a weird like a double clutching type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like a weird kind of like extra swooping motion. It's like a quarterback that has to drop all the way down to throw, right? Instead of just going right back and throwing, and they just go like, yeah. That's what I've kind of noticed from him.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy.
Not at all. I actually brought that up on Sun's Jam session recently, but then he scored like 22 points that night when I brought it up. So it's like
it worked.
I don't know. What are you going to do? So I don't know if you follow Sun's Jam session at all either, Sun's fan Randy. 100%. They just started doing a new thing today and John dropped a little video, like a little short 10-minute video on campaign, and I got to take a listen to it today during my break. It was an actually very interesting little tidbit about campaign because it's everything that I've been thinking about campaign, but I haven't dug into the stats. You know what I'm saying? So he's been averaging like 2.3 points or turnovers during this stretch, and over the last 11 games it's down to 1.3. He's getting to the rim better. You know, looks like he's finally healthy. Give me your thoughts on campaign. Can he be the backup point guard for us, and what are your realistic expectations of a scoring guard like campaign that isn't a traditional point guard?
Yeah, I feel like up until maybe the finals, like I kind of had the thought like in my brain, like, you know what, campaign can kind of be the successor for Chris Paul. And then like now, like going through the season, I'm like, you kind of reminded me, because I feel like regular season campaign and playoff campaign is two different campaigns. It's kind of like Rondo in a sense, but it's like, like during the season, because he was doing this kind of the same thing last year. But the thing was, I feel like the thing that irritates me, because I'm not like, I didn't watch the video. I wish I would have watched it, but the thing that irritates me a little bit about campaign this year, I feel like he kind of needs those extra guards like the Langston Galloways, the Etuan Moores, the Javon Carters, who else is back there? Tyshawn Alexander. Like, I just feel like he needs those guards to like light a fire under him that they might take his minutes. Because I feel like now he's too comfortable. And I feel like now like he's been playing really, really bad. Well, the last couple of games, like, okay, cool. But like, I just feel like I'm tired of watching him. He can only go left. He can only finish with he's the only left-hander I know that can't go right.
Finishes on the
right. Yeah, like every left-hander I know like can go both ways. But anyways, he can't go left. His jumper, like his three ball is like, okay, like that's kind of like the best thing kind of going for him right now. But it's just like, I'm tired of watching him drain the clock and then wait till 5 seconds left. And then like, all right, I'm going to try to beat you off the dribble, beat you to the rim, and then only go to the left. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and then like, especially. And then now that they have JaVale McGee in the starting lineup, it's like now you don't even have the guy that picks up that cleans up your misses. And so it's just like more noticeable. I'm not the biggest campaign fan right now because, like I said, regular season campaign, I'm like, but playoff campaign. And then also, too, like I feel like Javon Carter brought out that defensive dog in him because I feel like them two had like whatever competition. They were like, all right, I'm trying to lock up. And I feel like campaign hasn't really locked up anybody like full court like he used to.
Them two together was like a problem for bench players.
Yeah, so like,
time. Yeah.
Imagine if we would have drafted Desmond Bane and would be able to.
I was so hyped off of Desmond Bane too. But anyways, go ahead.
I wasn't. I mean, I knew he was the best shooter, but every time he would pick up his dribble or he would start dribbling and get into just anywhere inside the 3-point line, it just looked brutal on film. Just like just awfully brutal. Now at the same time, it's different in college versus NBA. You got more room in the NBA. You can do more things if you got speed. And it's never, ever, ever, ever a bad idea to pick the best shooter in the league. Whenever anybody criticizes a team for taking the best shooter, like everybody did with Cam Johnson, who was the best shooter in that draft, you don't know anything about basketball. What's the point of basketball? Shooting and putting the ball in the hole. That's literally the whole point. So you pick the best shooter, good things are going to happen. But imagine if we had Desmond Bane backing up Book and we could still keep Javon Carter. That would have been the perfect ideal thing to happen to the Phoenix Suns. One thing that we've had issues with the Phoenix Suns is no depth on the bench just due to COVID. Oh, damn it, Westville. I was trying not to get into it. I know. We're talking about campaign. We wouldn't have campaign if it wasn't for. I mean, if we had Halliburton, we wouldn't have campaign. Let's just be honest. Like he would not be with the team. But damn it, he's right. So our bench has been an issue because so many dudes have been out with injury, with COVID, whatever it is. I feel like the second unit, especially JaVale McGee to a point, and especially with Landry Shamet, they haven't been able to get their feet under them, rhythm with other players, whatever it may be. Until recently, JaVale McGee finally got it in the mid-month of December. I feel like Landry Shamet was starting to get it, then he got COVID, and now he's trying to come back, and it's just whatever it is with Landry Shamet. But talk to me about our bench right now. What are your thoughts? What you're seeing? What you're feeling? And also, we're about 7-ish weeks from Frank Kaminsky return. By the way,
the
watch is on for Frank the Tank.
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
He got surgery. Yeah,
6 to 8 weeks at the beginning of January. So in theory, at the beginning of March, he could come back.
Yeah. So what happened was like he tried healing naturally, and what the sort of thing that he has, like
stress fracture.
Yeah, the stress fracture. Either your body heals naturally with it, or you're going to need surgery. So he tried healing naturally without getting the surgery, and so it didn't end up looking good. So now he's getting the surgery. So he could have been back a lot sooner. He just didn't want to get the surgery, which I get. But
real quick, holy crap! The Utah Jazz. I don't know if you guys saw this. Lost to the Houston Rockets tonight.
What?
They're going through something right now.
The Rockets beat the Jazz at Utah. Yeah, man.
Utah?
At Utah.
That's nuts. Yeah, you live and die by the three.
I just saw that and I had to pass that along. Yeah, they've lost the Utah Jazz 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of their last 7 games. They've lost 6.
Ooh, I mean that's good for us because they were kind of like creeping up too, and I was just like, hopefully the Jazz and kind of because, like I said, the 1 seed means something to me, but I don't know why. Like I don't know, like
it doesn't hit
maybe because we just been down so long.
Let's. I want to get back to that 1 seed talk before we get you out of here. Let's talk about the bench a little bit and the question I just posed. Before I accidentally rudely interrupted you with this.
Nah, you good? You
good? Jazz lost.
How I feel about the bench? I'm a little concerned about the bench, but then not really because if you really get surgical and kind of get real, like in playoff rotations, like you don't really go too deep in the bench. So I'm not necessarily too concerned because you typically go like 7 or 8 man rotation. But I am concerned about the bench because like I don't like Landry Shamet. Like I mean he's cool, but I feel like to me, like up until this point, he hasn't given me anything that was advertised about him. Like he hasn't given me any defense because I thought that I was going to get at least some sort of defense. I can't get open threes from him, just the open ones. Just you don't even have to knock down the contested ones, just the open threes. And I feel like we're solid on like big. So if we ever run into like Giannis or whoever, or if they try to go big on us, like or bully ball, whatever, like, because I feel like that's kind of like our Achilles heel, but nobody really knows that yet. Is if you try to bully us and get physical, like we're kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like something that always concerns me is just like we just need Devin Booker needs a backup because, like I said, when he went out with the hammy, because I feel like he typically goes out maybe once or twice a year with a couple hammy strains, but I feel like if we can get somebody that can hold it down while he's gone, or like just be serviceable. Like, that'd be cool with me.
I completely agree. What are your thoughts on Cam Johnson and how important he is to the team?
Cam Johnson. I really like Cam Johnson, and I guess hot take, I think that Cam Johnson has a higher ceiling than Mikal Bridges. I feel like Cam Johnson, if he really works on his craft and tries to hone in on his games, because I feel like he shows spurts of what he can do from time to time, and it's just like, if he really sat down and concentrated and just took the summer just to take it serious, not just focus on just shooting, I feel like he can come out and surprise a whole lot of people. But I don't know if he's gonna grow into that person at the power forward position that we keep running him at. But I do think that, you know what I'm saying, like, he can definitely be better than Mikal. I don't know if we've seen the best of Mikal, because I didn't think that he was, like, in the beginning of the season, he was phenomenal. Mikal was hitting all kind of middies and that turnaround jumper. I feel like now the league is kind of onto that turnaround jumper because it gets blocked almost every time he tries to go pump fake spin turn around. Like, it gets tossed almost every time now. But yeah, I think that if I hope that we can keep him money wise too. That's another guy I'm trying to figure out. Like, how much do you think we should pay Cam Johnson in the summer? Like, to me, he looks like maybe a 15 mil, or like, I don't know if we're gonna get him for 40, but
I don't know, because remember, this next year is when the cap is supposed to go way up, like an extra something stupid. I want to say I heard 30 to 40 mil a team. So that's gonna be
a lot.
Yeah, that's gonna be inflation for everybody. So like a $10 million player is now what, 16, 17, 18. So I don't know the value off the top of my head. I want to say, I would pay him that 90 mil contract, like what Shamit got. Or Shamit got like 43.
Got 40. Like Mikal got 90.
Mikal got 90. That's what I was thinking of. That's kind of what I was thinking, to be honest.
Yeah, I
say that's fair.
Yeah, I say that's fair. Maybe 95. Maybe if the cap goes that high, then maybe 100. I wouldn't mind.
I mean, realistically, you're like, I would say 75, because he hasn't been a starter. He's been a bench player this whole time. It's like, you'd want to give him that, but you're not paying in the NBA. You're not paying for what you're done. You're paying for what you could do.
Yeah. And another conversation with that is like, what are we going to do with Jayyy, after the season, So it's like Cam is really like flourishing and kind of like becoming something bigger than we first kind of perceived when we first got him. And like, I love Jayyy to death and stuff, and he's a great puzzle piece for any team that wants to go on a run. Go buy Suns. Anything else is better.
Todd is not happy. He will never listen to us again.
Still on that. But for real though, like Jayyy, he's a great piece for any team that wants to make a run and stuff. So I don't know if we'll be able to keep Jayyy. I love Jayyy, and I think Cam Johnson is going to end up, like being a starter in the future, and taking some of that money away from Jayyy. And that's just where we're at. Hopefully, we win a chip this year. And
I mean, Jayyy Crowder next year, going into his third and final year, you can unload that contract. A Jayyy Crowder on a final year when he's 32, 33, like, you can unload that like there's no tomorrow. Like,
exactly,
that's a contract everybody wants, and it's only like at 9 or 10 mil. It's not. It's not this huge contract, so I could 100%.
Very easy to deal with. He might take a pay cut. He likes being on this team, so
I mean,
he might. Yeah,
you're gonna need a roll cut as well too. But there's so many more things that Jayyy Crowder does that Cam Johnson doesn't. Cam Johnson doesn't say a damn thing on offense, which is a good thing for his role. Jayyy Crowder is kind of that spark plug. He's that boss man. He's not really that tough guy. That what do you call it in hockey? The enforcer. He's not really an enforcer, but yet he's kind of our enforcer. I don't want Cam Johnson guarding LeBron either.
Right.
I don't want Mikal guarding LeBron.
Yeah, no.
I want a dude like Jayyy Crowder. So there's definitely a place for him. His passing is a lot better too. His court awareness is a lot better. So there's a lot of little intrinsic things that Jayyy Crowder offers that Cam Johnson just can't now. Just right now, right? Go into your number 1 seed comment real quick. After watching the Cardinals melt down and implode, I can't believe I was so obtuse to think that we would be better going on the road than staying at home, especially in the playoffs. And that was just a foresight, not a foresight. It was just wrong thinking by me. I should have never said that. Looking at last year and how important it was for us in the conference finals, how important that number 1 seed was for us. You're damn right. I think the number 1 seed means something. It means playing a weaker opponent the first 2 rounds, and you deal with whoever's left over, and you always start at home. And I really think there is something to that. Tell me, I mean, a lot of people, like the Lakers last year, they didn't care if they were 1 through 6. They should have, but they didn't. There's a lot of probably the Warriors, right? Warriors probably don't care. The Nets sure as hell don't care. They just want to get through the season, get to whatever, and play for the real season. For the Suns and who we are as Suns fans, I think it's important. Why do you think it's so important, Randy?
I think it's so important. Just number one for pride, because I feel like I feel like I'm looking for TVs or national television's like validation so much, and I didn't catch myself until today. I'm like, why are we not talking about the Suns so much? I was like, you can hear me? Oh, you said we're not getting it. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're not getting it.
Yeah, so like I was like, for the longest time, I was like, look, if we can get the number one seed and we got Devin Booker, like that's all he needs. Like if we can get Devin Booker the number one seed, I swear, like they'll talk about Devin Booker all day, all night, and like everybody be happy. But like I said, we got there now, and it's just like it feels like, oh, this is what this feels like, and they still don't acknowledge us and whatever. So it's just like. So I guess, like I said, it was just like wishful thinking. I was just like, oh man, like they're gonna love us and and we're gonna have the best team and we're gonna be the best team in the NBA and we can walk around like that, like just like in the Nash days, kind of. And it's just like, nah, like they don't really care, and it's just like we don't even get like the same even respect still. Luckily, you get a little bit more respect amongst the refs, a little bit more, but yeah, that's about it. That's really changed within the NC.
I said this at the beginning. The national media will not give us anything. They won't give us any respect. Clay will score 21 points and everybody will be popping off about it. Or Joel Embiid got 50 tonight against the Magic and people pop off. Devin Booker gets 48. You know, obviously it's
the
not
Raptor.
Right?
It's like, the Toronto Raptors. He's mad about.
Yeah, it's the like, Raptor what? And being double teamed in a pickup game 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Unfortunately, it's all an act on ESPN. Everything is staged and it's all about ratings, yada, yada, yada. There's a reason LA is king and we are not. It's because it's just the bigger market and money talks. That's what it is. And we went to the finals and we're still not getting credit, bro. We could win the finals and everybody will talk shit because so-and-so is going to have an injury. Oh, you're lucky, Anthony Davis. Oh, if Jamal Murray was healthy. So even if we win, you are not going to find that validation. I promise you. Yeah, Jay.
Like the Bucks just won, and the only conversation on the East is the Bulls coming back after being trashed forever, and then it's the Ben Simmons situation, and then Kyrie's COVID thing. I've yet to see a lick of Bucks.
Thank you.
Coverage, and
Stephen A. Smith just today said he would pick John Morant over Giannis in the playoffs.
Oh my God!
What the hell else do you need to know? Yes, and then he backed it up with a Twitter post 4 hours later.
Yeah,
weird. He's funny for memes, but God, he'd be
that's
weird.
That's Stephen A. Smith ESPN content for you. They would rather pick a guy that's unproven, that hasn't won the MVP, hasn't won the 2-time MVP, right? Hasn't won the championship and the championship MVP.
Yeah. That's just because somebody's on a hot streak right now.
Yeah, so don't expect anything like that, Suns fan Randy. You need to listen to all the local podcasts, the Suns podcast family. That's where you're going to get your insight, and other smaller podcasts like Romp 2.0, some of the other small basketball ones. Yeah, Jay.
And one more thing. Last year, it was very important for us because we didn't want to see the Lakers, the Clippers in the first round and stuff. And what do you know? The Lakers started sucking because of injuries, and Clippers lost Kawhi, and the cards fell where they did, and things ended up working out, and they kind of gave us more validation about things. Yeah, injuries kind of played into it a little bit, but this team was consistent all year, against good teams, and now we're just further adding to our argument, and this team's for real and here to stay, and this team is built to stay together for a long time. And just to cap off what I need to say is that for some reason, just sports Twitter and sports Instagram, people that follow just casual fans have this weird hate when it comes to Chris Paul and Booker. I just don't I don't understand it. Anytime Booker, he just dropped 48 the other night, and the top comments would just be blew 2-0 lead, but they give Steph Curry a pass for his 3-1. So but seriously. We're getting hate and flack for a lot of reasons. One, us being Phoenix, not having that credibility for such a long time, us not being established. And now we're the top of the food chain, and people still aren't taking it seriously. But actual basketball people like JJ Redick and Richard Jefferson sometimes, and Matt Barnes, and other Fry. NBA players, Channing Frye, Kendrick Perkins, they'll be like I played, this team is good. They're here to stay, and the players will will back us up. A sports analyst averaged 2 points in high school. I'm not going to take so seriously.
Hey, easy.
I'm talking about Skip, but like people just hate Book just to hate him. I don't get it. And Chris Paul, you hate him when he's not on your team, but once he's on your team, like you're blessed. So
yeah,
I just stopped listening to outside noise. I'll back him up whenever I could. So
yeah, but it's just that validation. It's like looking for your dad's validation, and he's just like,
it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Back in the Nash years before social media and stuff, we actually got a lot of play on ESPN and Fox Sports or whatever it was. I think they kind of saw what we were doing with the 7 seconds or less, and they saw that it was going to change the NBA. They saw it right in front of their eyes. Mm-hmm. So that it was different. It was magical. It hit the NBA by complete surprise. And then you add the thunderous dunks that Amari had. It was must-see TV.
Yeah, way before
now you've got Chris Paul, who's going to surgically dissect you with 18 seconds into the shot clock, as opposed to 7 seconds or less. And people don't want to see that. People don't want to see him doing this, crossing over, this, that, and all of a sudden he's just going to do a little step back midi for 2 points. People don't want to see that. And that's kind of okay with me. I'm okay with it, people doubting that, because you have to see it to believe it.
Right.
And until it happens to your team, you're the one talking shit to us. And when it happens to your team, you're going to be like, oh, damn.
Think of the 2012 Spurs, like they were boring to watch because of how good they played basketball.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like every Spurs team.
Yeah, every Spurs team. Especially, I mean, it was weird.
Yeah, every Spurs
when we played them when we played them the other day, like they were actually moving up and down. I was like, what? Greg Popovich got off that slow ball, or maybe he was just like, that's not going to work against us. But that was an interesting kind of game.
He's like, I don't have Tim Duncan. I can't do that. I've got DeJounte Murray, who, by the way, put up another triple-double tonight.
Yeah, that was
you guys want to get into some scores real quick around the league? It was a busy day in basketball. You want to just do some scores, and then we'll let Suns fan Randy get out of here?
All right, I'm with it.
Let's go. Let me share my screen real quick. So, Clippers and Nuggets are still playing tonight. Nuggets are down to the Clippers, believe it or not. I wouldn't have guessed that. Jokic is working on a triple-double. Kings are up 7 on the Pistons in the fourth quarter. Before I actually clicked back over, it was 120 to 118, and the Kings have picked it up. Right there. Go figure. It's a close game against a team that's 15 and 29. Who would have thought?
Crazy.
Oh, it's a 4-point game right now. But yeah, 4-point game. Lakers and Pacers. Good riddance. 76ers and Magic. Embiid with a 50 spot and 12 boards. Mo Bamba randomly went off for 32 points. I didn't see that coming, but Joel Embiid, everybody laughed at me when I thought the Sixers were going to be a top 3 team last year. And I said, anytime Joel Embiid is on your team, who is arguably the best big man in the league, you're going to be a top 3 team. Yeah. And just like that. Who knew? Nets beat the Wizards by 1. Wizards had 2 opportunities at the buzzer to win or tie it or get fouled or something. Couldn't do it. Hawks 134-122 over the Timberwolves. Ant Edwards got ejected for a second tee, similar to what Cade Cunningham did to us on the Pistons. He made a dunk, said something, got a tee.
That trash needs soft this year.
That needs to change, right? Come on, man. That needs to change.
No respect.
I'm tired of that. Pick. Hornets beat the Celtics tonight, 111 to 102. Terry Rozier, 28 points. D. Schroeder, a Phoenix Suns trade target, had 24 points. By the way, Phoenix Suns trade target. You want to talk Suns trade? There was a proposed trade that got denied. Jalen Smith for Dennis Schroeder. Blazers got taken care of by the Heat. Bam Adebayo with 20 and 10. Anthony Simons stepping up yet again in Dame and CJ McCollum's absence. Of course, CJ's back now, but he is stepping up. Yep. Game of the night was probably the Bulls and Cavs. Bulls take care of the Cavaliers, and DeRozan had a 30 spot. And the interesting game of the night between a couple Suns foes that we all know really well, Bucks took care of business against the Grizzlies. So all of a sudden, the Grizzlies start playing really good teams, and they start losing. Go figure, right? It's the weirdest thing.
14 assists. That's really good.
John Morant had 33. Giannis had 33. And I'm getting a weird go away. I hate when you have it in
Tax
your ear
season.
and they start playing other stuff. Yeah, exactly. Spurs 118-96. There's DeJounte Murray 23, 10, and 14. Dude is an absolute beast, and I can't wait till the new or the future Phoenix Sun plays on our team in a couple of years. And then, as I said, the Rockets beat the Jazz, and that's the LOL of the night right there. Anything standing out to you with tonight's game or in the season specific, Suns fan Randy? Anything that's really caught your eye?
Out of us or just through this list?
Just through any NBA headlines, any teams. By the way, Luka had 41 and 14, and ESPN.
Yeah. And we play them tomorrow, so that was the first thing that stuck out to me. Like at least we'll give them on a back to back.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good game.
On TNT, by the way. Any other scores? I mean, this score is really telling, but are the Grizzlies a team that you're worried about? Do you think the Bulls are a big top dog in the East? Talk to me about some of the other NBA teams just for a minute.
So I had on my pod, I predicted really early, like November to be exact, that John Morant was going to be in the MVP conversation. I still don't think he's going to win, just because I feel like Steph Curry and just how historic his season is going to be. And I feel like now I'm starting to kind of get the gist of like how much of a politic or like kind of like a fan driven league it is. So it's just like, okay, like Steph Curry's going to get it. But I feel like like I said, in November, I was like, if John Morant can kind of keep doing what he's doing and especially like turn that team into like a top team in the West, like he should get it. And I feel like he's definitely earned it, especially with Steph Curry being super inconsistent right now. It's just like some weeks he's in a shooting slump. I think Steph Curry might be out right now because he hurt his hand or he might have fell on his hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the thing. I was just like, I feel like I seen it early in John Morant because to me, he reminds me so much of Allen Iverson in just a sense of being fearless. Just like I was following John Morant since maybe his first year at Murray State because he had a really dunk that went semi-viral. And I was just like, who is this dude just dunking or whatever? And then like I followed him up until we played against him in the league his rookie year. And I literally had to unfollow him on all social media just because like I thought that he was super disrespectful because what kind of guy or like how disrespectful is somebody to dunk in a meaningful game? We were playing them and it was 52 seconds left in the game and they were down by maybe 1 point and he just leaped up and just all over Aaron Baines and just flushed it down.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, yo, it's 50, it's a clutch game and that's your go-to off of 2 feet, and just throw it in there. And I was just like, you disrespectful, sir. Like I can no longer support this. So it's just like ever since then he's kind of been canceled with me. But like, yeah, so he's just like I said, he's a different person. I think that if he can get the consistent jumper kind of going, then he'll be all right and he'll kind of last. But yeah, I don't know.
You might be a little young for this, but he reminds me the style of play of a mix between John Wall and Penny Hardaway.
Oh no, John Wall when he first came out was tough.
That's actually a really good comp, Evan. I'll co-sign on that. That's a really good
without the shooting. The shooting obviously needs to improve, but as far as the ball handling, the attacking, but the fearlessness with AI, that is spot on with Ja.
Do you know what my comp would be? It would be Kemp and like Sean Kemp and Iverson. I'll probably merge those two together.
If they had a little baby. It'd be John Morant.
But I actually have a question for Randy and for you, Evan, as well. Who would your MVP picks be? Because it's a little weird this year, I feel like all three of us have a different one. So the season's a little weird. Like Chris Paul should have won it last year, and he didn't. Jokic won it, and he got swept in the playoffs. So, taking everything into consideration, Jokic is still putting up the numbers. Giannis is too. Steph Curry's been really inconsistent, but he has the fan vote in his back pocket. Tell me your picks.
Yeah. So, just to give you, I guess, my top three. So I would give, to me personally, I would give John Morant first. And then I would probably give Steph second, just because, like I said, what he's doing is historic, and I think he's gonna get it. And third, I know a lot of people gonna hate me out there, But I do feel like if just being a fan of the game, like I said, I hate those other dudes that wear purple and gold. But if he can get them to the 6th seed, I think LeBron should definitely be in the conversation just because what he's doing at that age.
On that.
Yeah, like I said, I hate him too. You know what I'm saying? I fight with him every day in LA. I go in and I argue and I, you know what I'm saying, fight to the death and stuff like that. But like I said, I got to give respect and I got to give credit when it's due. LeBron James and what he's doing over there at that age, like, especially, you know what I'm saying? Especially, and then you got Russell Westbrook, who's literally just sabotaging whichever way he can. So it's like you got to give him something.
That's a great question to ask, JJ, because anybody that says Steph Curry is absolutely insane and you do not watch and or follow basketball. You are drunk off of something, and I want some of it. Yeah, Stephen Curry, other than the 2019-2020 season, the first year KD left, Clay was hurt, Draymond was hurt. He played 5 games that whole season. I'm throwing that season out. Other than that season, he is shooting his career worst in 3-point percentage. He is shooting his career worst in overall field goal percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give somebody the MVP for having career worst in those categories. I'm just not. He's not averaging a career best in rebounds or assists or steals for that matter. He's not averaging a career best in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we give a player that has a career best or a career worst in things the MVP?
That makes a whole lot of sense.
He does not get my consideration right now. Right now, Ja Morant, because of recency bias more than anything, his explosion and all that stuff is there and the way he's turned it around. I do like his swag for a team like Memphis because you got to have a dude that's going to chat like that and not back down, especially if you play for a Sacramento, a Memphis, a team of that smaller stature, if you will. Giannis, on the other hand, is, he's averaging more points than he did last year. He's the same, or he's averaging a little more in rebounds. He's averaging a little more in assists, a little more in blocks, a little less in steals, and his turnovers are exactly where they were. His field goal percentage is about the same. His free throw percentage is actually up from last year. I got to put Giannis in there, and then I got to put Kevin Durant in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
I still think Kevin Durant is one of the best, if not the best player in the world. So those are my 3, and that is a great point to talk about because everybody still wants to give it to Stephen Curry. So when they do, and you have that conversation, you could tell him he's shooting a career worst in field goal and 3-point percentage, and he's not averaging a career high in anything other than the season 2 years ago where he played 5 games. You got to take that out because then they'll be like, oh, yeah, but this season he did this. And no, that doesn't count. So take that for what you will. Suns fan Randy, thank you so much for coming on again. I'd love to have you on again. I'm sure we're going to be in contact. Get that Twitter up and going if you can. But please tell everybody where they can find your podcast and what it's all about again.
So, yeah, you can follow me on YouTube at Stay Off My Grass Podcast, and you can find me on TikTok also. I upload a lot on there too at Stay Off My Grass Pod. So those for right now, up until we get to Twitter up and going.
We'll get it up and going. Head it over to him. Go ahead in the chat as well too, Randy, and tell everybody where it's at or post a link in there so people can go over and they can subscribe to it as well too. We appreciate you have you on, and hopefully we'll have you on again, okay?
All right, man. Peace.
All right,
Thanks,
have
Randy.
a good one. That was a lot of fun having him on. I really like his insight. Everybody go over and listen to his podcast. He does great analysis. He does it right after the game. It's a 10 to 15 minute video, whatever it is. And he just spits it how he sees it. So I love that. The only downside is his brother's a Lakers fan. And so they'll go back and forth about it. And then you got to listen to a Lakers fan. So, but we'll have his brother on as well sometime and we'll roast him a little bit, I'm sure. Let's I don't want to do this.
Okay, before we transition, I actually wanted to give you my MVP picks as of right now.
Please.
Yeah. I'll just go over it real quickly. I think Randy made a good point about LeBron with everything going on in LA right now. He's still playing really consistently playing really good. His plus minus is good. And like he's dealing with a lot of BS right now, but like some of the blame goes to him of how he constructed the team, but that falls on Rob Pelinka as well. So
Le GM. I don't know how much I don't know how much pull anybody has. Here's a statement I agree with though, real quick from Roy.
Dwayne Bacon dude, you've been talking about Dwayne Bacon for 3 years, right? but
go on.
Like it's the GM, and you want to go through your best player to see how you want to construct a team. But at the end of the day, Rob Pelinka has the pants. So he pulls the trigger on the things. He can listen to LeBron's insight, and he's definitely going to take flack for the Russ thing. And like I think fans of LA love the Russ thing at first, and it's just not working. It happens, you know. But he's playing good. I would throw Giannis right above LeBron. He just keeps on increasing his numbers. No need to get further into that.
He's a different animal, yeah.
Yeah, he's a different animal. I'll throw Ja in at second. I think what he's doing is great. They missed the playoffs last year, right?
No, they were the 8th seed. They won their play-in game, and they were 8th seed. They won the first game against the Jazz, who had the 1 seed, and then they lost 4 in a row.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So from to come to that to where they are now is pretty incredible. Reminds me of the Bubble Suns a couple years ago. I think that's kind of like where they're at right now. They don't have a solid second scorer. I think maybe another year or two they're going to be a problem. Yeah. I'll throw Ja right there, but my pick honestly is DeMar DeRozan. I think what he's doing with the Bulls right now is pretty incredible. I've been a big DeRozan fan ever since LeBronto, and
he's heating up.
he's just been a great scorer, and like a lot of people were like, how's this Bulls team going to work? Amit, and just because all the guards and the lack of size and stuff, but everything's clicking, and it goes through DeMar, and like he's just playing like crazy right now. So he's my dark horse MVP. Probably Curry's going to win it, or Giannis. I'm cool with Giannis winning it, especially Defensive Player of the Year. But those are my picks really.
I thought Zach LaVine was going to be the dude on that team, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be the one doing all this stuff and not DeMar DeRozan, but maybe it just didn't work in San Antonio from him. It just didn't work. And now look at him. He's thriving. For honorable mention, I do want to throw Embiid in there just because of what he's doing without Ben Simmons and a star player. I think he would be on the fringe as well too. I also want to give love to Jokic. He just dropped a 40-burger and he's got 10 rebounds and 9 assists. It is 116 with like 3:45 to go in OT. Lakers are still up 2 with 8.5 to go. So if I were to give 2 more fringe players, it would be that, and then probably DeMar DeRozan, and then if I'm being honest, probably Booker. But I think by the end of the season, Booker's going to be up there. I think Book's about to go on a run, bro. I think Booker's I think he's about to go on like this 38 a night for the next 10 game type of run, and just
this
really
5-game stretch is wild. So
I think he's about to do that. Pacers just took the lead 88-87, 8:15 left. I'll keep everybody updated on that, but I really think Book's going to go on a run. And so it's not how you start, it's how you finish. If Book can finish the year at 25 to 26 per game, we make the 1 seed, and he has this run of 30-40 points a game. You're going to have to seriously take a look at that, especially if Golden State falls a little bit, especially if the Grizzlies fall. I mean, last year we were talking about Donovan Mitchell at some point, but then they fell off a little bit, but then they eventually got the 1st seed. Donovan Mitchell ain't that guy. Not that what everybody thinks he is. He's not that guy. He's not the MVP of the league. I don't think he's even a top 10 right now. So a lot of things to look at. But again, I don't want to get stuck to what we were talking about with the Cardinals either, dude. Like best team ever, best this, best that. And there were still 2 months to go in the season. Yeah, I don't want to do that right now. I want to worry about the Mavericks tomorrow night and how are we going to stop Luka. I want Mikhail to put Luka in jail. I want to control the boards. I want a good game from Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and I want to see Shamet do something and campaign, keep it going and keep that rhythm. And can we get Cam Johnson back into the fold? What's Bismack Biyombo going to look like? Are we going to play sticks? There's enough to worry about on a game by game basis. than to worry about what's going on at the end of the season. Are we the best team ever? That kind of thing. Those conversations can be had at a later time. So I want to get into some Cardinals talk. I want to be, just go another 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe Sunday we'll get to what we were talking about. I think on Sunday I'd like to go through the list of Cardinals free agents and possible signings and pickups or whatnot. Who do we want to bring back? Are there any moves we want to cut? Let's put that on hold until Sunday, but I just want to make 2 very, very important points here. Obviously, this time, JJ, we're not firing Cliff Kingsbury or Steve Keim. That would have happened. We're almost exactly 48 hours from when that game ended, and it still hasn't happened. So they're here to stay. Let's move on with what we need to do and put all that to rest. 2 things. This is Kyler Murray's most important offseason of his career. That cannot be understated. This year, I want to see videos of him working out by himself. I want him to be active on social media and put this stuff out. I want a different Kyler Murray next year. I want all those things. I want a little bit of meat on the bones when I'm talking about he does have this fire. He does want to win. I want to see some of it because everything that we've seen in the big games is him floundering like a fish. I want to see him put in work this offseason. I think it's important to him. And I understand he has had 2 not normal off seasons. I totally get that. But at the same time, nobody else has. So we can't use that excuse. So it's Kyler Murray's most important offseason, first and foremost. Number 2, I really think, and this may not seem as important to you, so I want your comment on this. The Arizona Cardinals need new jerseys and a new identity. There's something to a rebranding. When ASU did it and they had that first blackout game, dude, it was fired. I'm not just talking about a white jersey and a red jersey. Nah, dog. I want a white jersey. I want a red jersey. I want a black jersey. I want a light gray jersey. And you know what? I'm not done. I want a dark gray jersey. I want to be the Oregon Ducks of the NFL. I want to have 5 jerseys that we can mix and match at any point. I don't mind the logo, to be honest with you. I think the logo's okay.
The logo's good.
The logo is fine. If you want to make a little tweak to it here or there, I think honestly that's just fine. I want a dope secondary logo, like AZ with a bird flying through it, or just something cool. But I really want multiple jersey combinations to go out there and look fresh every game day. Because I think there's something to that. The fans matter. Look good, feel good, play good, especially when you come to the team. And look at the Seahawks. They have those gray ones, the dark blue ones, the green ones, the white ones, I want something like that. I want it to come in, look new, look fresh, give an update to it, and let us turn the page a little bit. I think uniforms would go a long way. And you know what? They'd make a shitload of money. I'd go out and buy a Hop jersey right now. I'd buy a D-Hop jersey. I don't want to buy another jersey of this jersey. I'm tired of this jersey. Those are my 2 important points right now. We can get into personnel later. We can get into Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim. We'll judge Steve Keim left and right with every single move he makes. We can't judge Cliff Kingsbury too much right now with what he's going to do. It's all going to happen next September. But it's all about Kyler, man. I don't know. Give me your takes, JJ.
Everything you just said, you're 100% correct. If Cliff and Keim were going to get fired, it would have happened already. I necessarily wasn't on the fire Steve Keim train like everybody else was.
Rejected!
I think what he
I got
did,
love for you. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I think what he's done in the last year and a half with everyone that he's brought in, I think he did a relatively good job. Yeah, he could have done that in the last 10 years and stuff. And for him to do it now seems kind of weird, but I'm like, where did this capability come from? Because we haven't seen that. But I think what he did, and I think he really covered a lot of breadcrumbs that he left behind with the last couple of seasons and stuff.
I forgot about this. Thank you, Westville. I forgot about that.
Yeah, now you can change the helmets and stuff. But when it comes to just coaching and stuff, like with Vance Joseph, he may take a head coaching job in Miami. I can see it, honestly. But I mean, like you're going to, a team that doesn't have like a promising future. This team's probably going to move off of Tua, probably go back into the draft. Probably not going to get Deshaun Watson because we haven't heard a lick of his case. So it's like I think Vance knows everything that's going on in Miami. And I think I thought he did a pretty good job this year at being a defensive coordinator. Injuries killed whatever he tried going with, but this is what the offseason, what we're going to have to do. I just hope the Cardinals organization brings in somebody for Kyler, a voice.
Yes.
A voice in his ear, over his shoulder, giving him the pointers that he needs. Bring in someone that, shadowed Peyton Manning, or, like Brady was quiet. Okay, I want to get into like people bashing Kyler's character and him acting not like a leader. Like, dude, like he's a kid. He's barely older than me. Okay?
No. He's a number 1 pick. No. You can't bail that out.
Well, you gotta let me get into it first. Okay. One, he's young. Okay, yeah, he's been good forever, and he's like never lost ever. So, he's gone through growing pains like everybody else. Okay, no one talks about how Josh Allen threw a bitch fit in his first playoff game. He was nervous. He was bad. He checked a bunch of stuff. Lamar Jackson, people were calling him a bust after his first year, his first year in the playoffs. Really, you can go down a list of all these new QBs that are good now, and it's growing pains.
Very fair, yeah.
So Kyler needs to go through his growing pains. He went through that with the Rams because we got our asses handed to us, and we weren't ready. Injuries played a part in our season. I think it killed our mojo. It killed our drive. And then Cliff, he's a pain. So I just hope this Cardinals organization brings in somebody to really help Kyler develop his game. And Sean McVay, he brought in a offensive coordinator. And what do you know? Matt's staff, for the most part this year, he played great. Yeah, he had a bad month of throwing picks and pick sixes and all that. But we're here at home, and Matt's staff is playing against the Bucs this Sunday.
Yeah.
So you talked about earlier, I think it was in the pre-chat before we went live, you can be one or the other, either head coach or offensive coordinator. It's really hard to be both. Only a handful of guys have done that in the NFL's history. Even Belichick, he had to get offensive coordinators at some points. I would take Josh Allen over Mac Jones anytime. But let Kyler go through his growing pains, and I'm 100% with you. He needs to have a incredible offseason. He needs to work on his game. He just needs to work on his precision, and I want him to use his legs. I know he wanted to be pass first, and we saw at the beginning of the season, I'm like, man, this dude is lethal no matter how you look at it. But after he got hurt, it was a mess. He's going to New York and hire Florida.
That's an interesting thought, John. I actually kind of think you're right.
Yeah, I like that, John. We'll touch on that later. But the new uniforms, dude, I'm so sick of seeing these red ones.
The red ones I don't mind. Those white on white are ghastly as fuck.
Yeah, the white on white with the the red nameplate or whatever. I'm just over our whole uniform concept. It's super basic. The Jets have had a rebrand. The Giants have had a rebrand. The Redskins kind of forcefully had a rebrand. The Eagles have changed color palettes. The Rams have changed. It seems like just about everybody's changed except us. We need a new flavor to this team, and now
been 15 seasons in these. Yes, 2006 was the first year in the new ones.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of our color rush ones. I think they're too basic, too simplistic. So we definitely need a rebrand and not change the logo. A secondary logo would be nice.
I've seen so many new ones where they had I don't know if you remember the old ones, like when Jake Plummer and stuff played, they had the Arizona state flag on the side. We
have such a unique flag. Let's implement it into
there's so many good designs out there. If you see any of the mock ones, we should start saving those tweets, dude, and we can send it to me, and I'll push it through the stream, and we can kind of look at some in future podcasts when we're bored in the off season.
For sure. Like I have one saved on my phone and it had a desert sand concept jersey. And I'm like, I love that.
That would
That
that
yeah.
would be sick. Ooh.
Yeah, all white jersey with red
Like
font and then
like
Arizona
what
flag
like
on
what
it.
the Diamondbacks did with that kind of tan color.
Yeah, it was like that. Yeah. And that
Hmm.
can be a tribute to the whole Pat Tillman thing, you know? Like
The
uh
Cardinal or the Arizona State Sun Devils had one, which in my opinion is the best Sun Devil uniform. They wore it
yeah,
against Colorado, Benjamin's freshman year.
yeah.
Best Sun Devil football jersey ever was that sand. I love what the diamond. You're on to something, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, the desert sand would be hot.
Yes.
And then now we can, change, the helmets and stuff. Maybe a black helmet, and we don't have to do the white helmet every freaking game. So, white jersey, like an all white jersey, I think we definitely need. Let's play around. Let's sample some stuff. Ravens have gone through like 9 color palettes and uniforms since like
They
the
can change
Flacco
their
age,
uniform
man.
combo every game, just
Why
like the
can't
Rams
we?
can. Just yeah.
Like,
I mean, and
I
then
don't.
I like the desert sand idea. Maybe take away my light gray, so you have white, red, black, dark gray, and then you have like a desert sand, and then you have those colors in every type of pant as well too. And
Yeah,
then you can, I mean, the sand you would probably keep the same and go with like a white helmet or something probably, but
or
dude,
black.
that
Yeah.
that that would be sick. I am
Yeah.
all up for that. And then to piggyback on your point, I heard it from Johnny Venerable on PHNX. I had been thinking it this whole time, but like, there's no real quarterbacks coach that's in Kyler's ear. There's no offensive coordinator that's in Kyler's ear. All the information and everything is like just straight from Cliff, dude. It's Cliff, Cliff,
Yeah.
Cliff, 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 Cliff. That's the only person that's talking to him over and over. And he did great with a lot of quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong. He did great, but we need somebody to challenge Cliff Kingsbury. We just do, especially when it comes to play calling. Is that an offensive coordinator? Is it a QB coach? Is it just somebody up in the booth to challenge him or something? I don't know. Steve Keim isn't holding him accountable, I don't think. We're not a fly in
No.
that room. We don't know those conversations, but it just feels like from year to year, things aren't changing, right? He's still stubborn. He still blows it at the end. I just think he needs somebody else there to help him through the tough times. A non-biased opinion, be like, no, let's run this play instead of this play. They're doing ABC out there. Like, we need somebody to push a different narrative for Cliff. And then also, as you said, to give K1 some sort of different advice, man. Just something different. So on Tuesdays, he talks with him in the QB room. I don't know what it is and goes over film. He needs a different view. Maybe he doesn't already, but it just seems like what is working isn't. And now we're going into another last season. We were going into this offseason questioning Cliff Kingsbury, just like we are right now.
Yeah.
We're in the same exact place, except now we've lost on a bigger level. And we're going
embarrassing way too.
in an embarrassing way. And we're going through this real quick. With a minute 30 left, the Pacers are up 11 on the Lakers.
Dude.
I just looked over.
What about that Nuggets game?
Nuggets won by 2, beat the Clips. Jokic with 49, 14, and 10 assists.
That's a stat line. Jeez. Shout out to
Jokic took over in the end. He said, nope, I got this. And Domantas Sabonis with 20 points, 11 and 10, and LeBron with 26 and 11. That streak of getting 30 plus is about over, LeBron. It's going to fade here in February and March, and he's going to be averaging 22. Yeah, man, this is Kyler Murray's most important offseason. I hope it gets treated as such. It's hard to say that this is Keim and Cliff Kingsbury's biggest offseason. It's probably their most important offseason. Yeah. So we just did it. They need to do it again. Vance Joseph, I'm fine if he returns. I'm fine if he goes away. I also think a different voice could be a good thing. 3 years, same defensive coordinator. Not 1 year has there ever been like real eye-popping stats, right? Where you're just like, holy crap, we were the number 2 in rushing defense, which by the way, this year we were 20th. Yeah. So it's hard to say that I want him back. I think a new voice could help, but I understand wanting to stay with the same terminology, this having consistency factor. I get it. Arizona Cardinals, man. At one point we said this was the best Arizona Cardinals team in Arizona sports history. We said that one time. Let that sink in. That's the importance of this offseason. Suns and Mavericks tonight. JJ, are you picking the Suns to win real quick?
Yes.
Let's go.
15. Let's go.
We'll be back with you Sunday night, you guys. Thank you.
See you guys.
And it is